Welcome to the 5K Yarns podcast with BILLO. This is a podcast where the finish line is just the beginning of the story. Every Saturday morning, all around the world, people like you and me gather to walk, jog or run, or just cheer from the sidelines. The guests I have conversations with attend these parkruns. It's formed an important part of their weekly routine. Some attend with their dogs, with prams, with their mates, and even with their families. Some just like to do it by themselves. Some chase PBs, some chase community, and some just chase the post-run coffee. After all, that's what it's all about, right? This podcast will share their stories with you. Each episode I sit down with everyday parkrun heroes to hear what this little 5K means to them. Because behind every barcode, there's a yarn worth telling. Lace up, sit down, tune in, and let's go for a run together. Now let's get on with the podcast. Welcome to another episode of 5K Yarns podcast with BILLO, where every barcode has a story. Today we're thrilled to feature a passionate parkrun tourist, an all-round legend of the trail, Jay GRIMLEY. Since joining the parkrun community in September 2023, Jamie, better known as Jay, has completed 72 parkruns across 63 locations, proudly clocking up 360 kilometres and a personal best time of 29 minutes and 31 seconds at Huskisson in New South Wales. With an impressive 41 parkruns in 2024, Jay loves for variety shines through, especially with the longest tourist streak of 36. But that's not all. Jay also gives back, volunteering 7 times across 3 roles, and is well on her way towards a V25 milestone. Whether chasing PBs or chasing community, Jay embodies what parkrun is all about: showing up, supporting others, and savouring the journey. So lace up, tune in, and join us as we explore Jay's inspiring parkrun story, 1 kilometre and 1 yarn at a time. Hello, Jay.
Hey, Matt, how are you?
Good to have you here in my local area, hence the reason why we're actually doing a side-by-side broadcast instead of you on one end of the camera and me on the other end, as like has happened in previous.
Definitely.
So Jay is actually visiting the area to, I think today you ticked off your Y and you completed your alphabet.
I did.
Well done. And I was RD today at Yackandandah Rail Trail Parkrun, so it's good for Jay to come along. But she's come down to Victoria, or this part of the world, to also get involved in the longest run, which is happening tomorrow, which will feature 6 of the local community parkruns, as well as a pop-up. It's all up 7 5K events in one day. So do as many or as little as you like, and then tomorrow night we then celebrate and have a debrief dinner at the local commercial club. So Jay, I've got to know you obviously initially through social media, and one thing that shines through is obviously your passion and your enjoyment of everything, and your stats stack up that as well. What made you get involved in, how did you discover parkrun, and what made you get involved in parkrun?
I actually was following Wentworth Common Parkrun in Sydney for quite some time, and just in September of 23, I decided I'm going to go check out what parkrun's about. What is parkrun? What is it? So I went to Shell Harbour, which at the time, that was the parkrun I knew about that was local to me. And I turned up and I thought, oh yeah, give this a go. Quite liked it. And the next week I came back. And it gave me the bug for running, and I've never been a runner in my life.
Because I was actually going to touch on that, because you just did say in a conversation earlier on during today that running is something that you've found and you've discovered and you actually enjoy that. And I think it embodies a lot of people. Like, I was never a runner prior to discovering parkrun, and you've said pretty much the same sort of thing. So now, though, you've taken it to the next extreme, because I know that you're quite an active participant in paid events around the country, and last weekend you actually participated and you completed a half marathon up at the Gold Coast marathon. Is that right?
I did the Brisbane half.
Oh, Brisbane was it? Sorry.
So I did a half marathon at the Brisbane Marathon last weekend. The week before that, I did the GC 30 half and did a PBs doing a sub 2:25.
Okay. Yeah.
So I've done quite a few half marathons now, because I'm actually doing the Sydney Marathon this year.
Yep.
So it's trying to build up to that marathon, which I'm very quietly nervous about, but I know I can do it.
Well, I think it's a case if you can do, and you've done a number of half marathons now, haven't you?
I have.
So for you to be able to do half marathons, if you can push and do, comfortably do another 10Ks, you should be able to push and do the full marathon distance. And
Well, I did the COSI 30 last year, which is actually 32K, and I completed that. So if I can do 32K, then I can do a marathon.
good on you. Good on you. So obviously you've been around the country, and you have been to quite a few states now, haven't you? Like Victoria, you ticked off a number.
I've
You
done
reside
11.
in New South Wales. You've done a number in Queensland. With what you've seen and what you've discovered around parkrun, there's all little things, and I guess it's one of those things that doesn't need to be improved, or doesn't it? And I was having an interesting conversation with someone this morning, and they were quite impressed by how easy it is to, say, for my local parkrun being Yackandandah, how quickly you can set it up and how quickly you can pull it down. I think that embodies the philosophy of what parkrun is all about. But if there was anything that you could add, change, or remove from parkrun from your experience, what would it be? And it could be anything.
I don't think I've really thought too much into it, actually, with that stuff. I just turn up, and some park runs are a bit more community orientated than others. There's been some that, Varsity Lakes was very community orientated, so there was, I don't know, it seemed a lot more, some are a lot more friendly than others, but not really. I don't think it's really too much you can really change it. It's nice when you get a cafe nearby and you get everybody going together to go and have something to eat afterwards.
Yeah.
That, I think, is a really positive thing, and it keeps everybody connected.
Yeah. So the community aspect is obviously something that draws you to it from week to week.
It does, and I've made some amazing parkrun friends like yourself. I've made some, and I've caught up with those people several times, so it's, you never know.
Well, the funny thing is that between Jay and myself, the first time we actually met, obviously through the many social media platforms, and I guess there was a connection with the third spoke being Paul, the Viking Whelan.
Yep.
Hey, Paul, if you're watching.
Hey, Paul.
We happened to cross paths. I think I did one in Sydney, and you actually did one in my local area.
Yep. Me and Paul were at Albury, and you went to Mount Annan.
That's right.
And then you messaged us, wondering where we were, and we were about 60 k's from Yass, and we all got together at Macca's.
That's right. So that was the first time we actually obviously met each other, and this is, I guess, it's only the second time we've actually met each other. But I guess the passion and what keeps you connected is through the whole parkrun experience, and learning about different events and different locations and so forth. And
well, I've done several parkruns with Paul now, and there's been a few times I'll message him and ask him where he's going that week.
Yeah.
And if I haven't decided where I'm going, there's been a few times where I have gone to a parkrun because Paul's going to be there, and it's just nice to catch up with your parkrun buddies.
Yeah, no, that's it. So, given that you're still fairly new within the parkrun journey, and hopefully it's going to be a long and prosperous one for you. So. Have you got a proud moment or a memorable moment that you'd like to share?
Probably, I don't know, probably just want to get a PB, I guess. So I've recently got a new PB at Husky about a month ago, so I finally got a sub 30. So I was that's probably my proudest moment. That's my second PB at Husky, so Husky's actually my local, although it's not my home run. So, because when I joined Parkrun, I didn't know Husky had a parkrun. Okay. So, Shell Harbour's my home run, but Husky's my local.
Yeah, I haven't done Husky yet, and certainly looking forward to doing it at some stage. Probably won't be doing it until this stage, until probably sometime next year.
Yeah, it's a nice flat one.
Definitely look forward to doing that one.
And it's partially along the beach, so on the bike track along the beach, so it's nice.
Now, is there a dream location that has a parkrun that you're aware of that you'd like to go and do?
Oh, gosh. I'd love to go and do some in different states, but Kangaroo Island is definitely one on the list that I'd like to do, and I definitely would love to go and do one in Northern Territory, so I haven't got there. I've never been to Northern Territory, so that's definitely on the bucket list.
So it doesn't matter which one in the Northern Territory.
No, not really, but I'd probably go and do the new Alice Springs one.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, I'm hoping to do that at some stage in the future. I sort of look at, and I guess I kicked it off last year for the first time, where my birthday's in September, and I usually try and do a trip or something memorable for my birthday. Yep. So last year I actually did Cooper Pedy with my nephew, and it's the first and only parkrun my nephew's done. Nice. He knows my passion and everything around parkrun, and I'm sure he's keen to do more. He lives locally at close to in Myrtleford, so Ovens River Trail Parkrun. It would be technically his home parkrun.
Well, my granddaughter came and did Bega Parkrun with me, so that was a little bit of fun.
So this year I'm hoping, at this stage I've got it on my calendar, but looking at possibly doing Alice Springs in September. So we'll see what happens with that one, but if not, it'll happen within the next year or so anyway. So I totally get that. Good to see that they're still attracting some good numbers at Alice Springs. And, why wouldn't it? It's in a nice part of Australia. So, unfortunately, Alice Springs does have a bit of a bad reputation around violence and, in that sort of space, and as far as, I guess, the population. But every area has a certain rough element to it. I don't care how they say, what
happens everywhere.
Now, you've obviously, with the sort of work that you do, and you don't have to tell people what you do as far as your work's concerned. It's none of their business. But you do travel a little bit. Is there a location that you've passed through where you would think, geez, this place could do with a parkrun?
Don't know really. Just not without travel. Not so much like that. Because I'm on the south coast, we could do with a bit more down south. I mean, even Ulladulla could do with a parkrun. Another letter you would be nice, but certain areas I think it's probably harder. So we definitely could do another one down south.
And you're not the only one that said that's about the south coast. Tyson had on
and the tourist areas
as well, and he pretty much grew up in that area, and he pretty much mentioned that's beautiful. Like I've travelled there as well, and I would agree with you.
Kiama, I think, is a bit harder because it's navigating certain areas, but Ulladulla, I think they could do it. They could actually do it along the beach. There's bike path. They could do it.
Yeah. So, is there anything about parkrun that annoys you? Now, it could be an experience that you've come across at a parkrun.
I have to admit, for me, I'm not really a dog person, but it's the ones who, the path hoggers with the dogs. It's probably the one I think, I'm going to say, please just move your dog over to the grass. And they'll run in the middle of the path with a dog, and you're trying to get past. That's probably the other thing that really annoys me.
And that's perfectly okay, because I guess, I wouldn't say that it annoys me as such, people having dogs there, but as you say, navigating around them safely. It's not the issue of having a dog there, because if I had a dog, I'd want my dog there, Yeah.
But some people just are a bit unaware of people around them, and there's times where it's happened several times where somebody will have a dog and they're running in the middle of the path, and I think, please move your dog over to the grass side. There's people trying to get past. That's probably about my only complaint.
So mine would be, and I'm fortunate enough this morning it didn't happen as run director. These days, I've got to admit, I haven't been as run director as frequently as what I have done in the past, but in the future, it's going to change. I can promise you that. I already know that next year on my calendar, first Saturday of every month, I'll be run director at my local parkrun. That's the plan anyway. But for me, the thing that annoys me, particularly when you're run directing, and particularly at events that have, it doesn't even matter what size of numbers.
Yeah.
People talking in the crowd, I guess you would call it, when you're trying to deliver your run brief. And I've got to say, this morning, particularly when I was given my little talk around the volunteers, volunteering, and what the true emphasis of what volunteering is about, and I might even share that as another time. It wasn't about having a go at people about volunteering and saying, if you're a parkrunner, you should volunteer as well. Share the love, spread the lie type thing. But it was more about, and I'll be interested to get your thoughts on it. And you can be totally honest. You can say, "Oh no, it's crap. You crapped on a bit too much," or "No, it was good." But what the message I try to get across is for people to have a think about when it comes to volunteering. It's not about feeling as though you have to do the role, but more so from the perspective of giving back to your community, the spirit and the feeling behind it, and what it truly encompasses and what it means. So, to me, I guess that would be my single biggest annoyance would be when you're trying to deliver and I hope I had most people. Tell me if I didn't, but I think I had pretty much everyone engaged this morning.
Yeah,
I like to try and make it fun, and I hate to, do the whole death by PowerPoint or death by script type scenario.
I think it's just the way you deliver it, as long as you deliver it in a fun way, not, that you're a robot. That's, when people tune out is when you don't make it a fun way, but you made it fun this morning. So
yeah, and I like to sort of add a little bit of humour to it as well, because I just think that, at the end of the day, we don't have enough laughs in life.
No.
I think life's become one of such where we just take things too goddamn serious all the time.
Oh, definitely.
So I was glad to be able to, and I love the role. I'd have to say probably one of my other than being a photographer, which I haven't been a photographer for a long time.
See, I love being a photographer, so that was a bit of fun this morning.
Yeah.
This morning was because we didn't have a photographer and it was raining, so I wasn't interested in running the rain. I had an umbrella. It's too hard to run. I was more than happy to do it, and I was in the position to get everybody as they were coming back at me. So,
yeah, and Yackandandah is a beautiful course, and I don't care what anyone says, even if whether it's like a day like today where it was pretty ordinary rain on and off. It's quite an enjoyable course and plenty to see.
Yeah, it's a nice.
I think all year round. On a deeper level, now you've already sort of touched on this. What does parkrun mean to you? Now you shared with me some of your struggles in life and how, in a lot of ways, parkrun has actually enabled you to be grounded. And
I think it's a challenge, but just especially for mental health. I find that before parkrun, I wouldn't have got out of bed before 9 o'clock in the morning. My Saturday mornings, I never got out of bed early, and every Saturday morning, parkrun is my thing. And I feel like if I don't do parkrun, I almost have withdrawals, and I think, oh my God, it's like I drive everybody crazy around me, but it's like I have to go to parkrun, and it's funny because I know all the places, and sure enough, somebody will mention a place, oh, there's a parkrun there, and then, oh, of course you knew that.
Do you get the times where you're talking to someone about parkrun? And I know I do. It's probably more so happened in my life with work colleagues where, you as soon as you mention parkrun and what you do, because someone might say, "Oh, what do you get up to this weekend?" You go, "Oh yeah, look, I'm going to be jumping in the car at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm going to be driving 4 hours to do a 5-kilometre run." And they look at you and there's to say, "You're freaking crazy," and like, yeah, I don't mind being that sort of crazy.
I left home at stupid o'clock. I did Centennial in Sydney 2 weeks ago, and I left home, and it's a 7 o'clock start. It's one of the 5 7 o'clock starts in Sydney. Considering that Queensland are the 7 o'clock starts.
Yeah.
So I had to leave home at I think it's 3:30 in the morning to get up there to be able to get parking. And although parking was quite easy actually, but to get up there for that 7 o'clock start. But it was just one I wanted to tick off the box, and I thought. But I had another parkrun friend, who was doing Centennial. So and I had another friend. And another friend was coming as well. Hi Michelle. And she didn't realise it started at 7 o'clock, so she sent me a message feeling really bad that she didn't turn up and said, "Oh, good. Things happen." So. And
that's it. But I guess where I was going to go with that is that you're talking to someone about parkrun, and because you're so passionate about it, you could talk to people for hours about it. I know I could.
Yep, same.
But you get the natural response of someone looking at you and they do the whole eye roll. It's like, oh, here we go again. Matthew's he's going to jump on the bandwagon and start going on about parkrun. But that's what it means deeply. And I guess for those people that haven't discovered parkrun and don't know what it's about, you probably do think, particularly people like us, not guys, but people like us. Yeah. You're crazy, but you know what? I'd rather be this kind of crazy and be passionate about something that's good for you, both in from a physical sense, but also from an engagement and a well-being, mental health perspective to do it as
definitely.
well. So this leads to, I guess, a final question, and it's an interesting one because people just don't quite know how to answer it, and I think there's no right or wrong answer, right? And that would be if you were to talk to an absolute no one, someone that's I wouldn't say a stranger, but you were talking about parkrun, to try and encourage them to come along. How would you go about it? And have you had that experience?
Not really, because most of the people around me aren't interested in doing any of that stuff. I just, I was volunteering at Batemans Bay, and I was a marshal. I was also a photographer, and people were asking, "Oh, is there a run going on or something?" I said, "No, it's parkrun." I said, "Come along, it's 8:00. You can walk it. You don't have to run it. It's not just a running thing." So a lot of people don't realise. Surprisingly, when I mentioned part, I said, I started people in conversation about parkrun, and they'll say, "So have you heard of it?" A lot of people actually surprisingly have heard of parkrun, and then I'll have a small minority that will say, "No, I haven't heard of parkrun before." So it's like, so I just say to them, it's a 5K run. It's on Saturday mornings, 8:00, unless you're going to Queensland, you've got to start at 7. But it's just a lot of fun. I know it's just, try to aim for a PB, but it doesn't happen every week.
So we were talking also earlier on about, I guess parkrun as a name does scare a lot of people because they look at the run part of the name, they think, I'm not a runner, I can't run. And we're talking about the walking and what's involved in a tail walking role as a volunteer, but also the park walking role. And I guess the beauty of it and the struggle that when you look at the numbers, parkrun, there's over 11 million people that are registered, but only a very small percentage, like 15%, if that have either done one or more parkruns.
Wow, it's nice to see the amount of older people that come to parkrun. That I find really impressive. I've been to parkruns where there's been 80-year-olds that have done parkrun. I think, holy crap, that's really inspirational. You know, so it's nice to see more older people getting in on it and turning up because they can walk it.
Well, it's interesting you say that because I guess one of the parkruns from my experience that I've attended where I'd hate to think what the average age of the core volunteer group would be, but it would have to be, I would say, in the low 60s.
Yeah, cool.
And that's Portland in Victoria, where they just made it so welcoming and so engaging that, you got a really good feel about it. And there's nothing better than going to a parkrun, I think, where you feel supported and you feel encouraged.
Yeah.
Particularly on a course where you do have that interaction with other parkruns along the way. Some of the courses are obviously challenging because they won't allow for that sort of thing. But if you can engage with somebody and encourage them, it's amazing what difference that could make. And I guess most people, they might just, some people, I won't say most people, but some people will just naturally do it and encourage people. And they'll say, good on you, well done, keep going, you're almost done.
Yeah.
But the thing that I would like to put out there and really challenge people with is that how do you know that person that you haven't encouraged might be going through an absolute crap time in their life?
Yeah.
The Saturday morning is their time to get out, and particularly older people, that now loneliness is such a big thing.
Oh, definitely.
That, in terms of engagement from a social perspective, parkrun does form an important part of that nucleus for those type of people. Where, how do you know that person, by you saying to them, well done, good job, that it's the positive aspect that can make their day?
Oh, definitely.
I
think it's one thing I find in the whole running community is when you've got complete strangers that'll turn and say, "Oh, well done, you can keep going." When I was doing the Port Fairy Marathon, I did a half in February, and I was literally running out of energy, just not far off that finish line, and I had a couple of young girls that yelled out, "Keep going, Jay, you can do it," and that for me was like, I can keep doing this, and I got a personal best out of it.
How do they know your name?
Because my name was on my bib. It was on my bib, and that's one thing I absolutely love, having my name on my bib, because the amount of strangers that will actually cheer you on as you're running past is just like, holy crap, and that's really nice. But for me, I'm the same. I do the same thing, but especially with kids. I love motivating kids. So when kids in parkrun come past me, I high-five them as they come past me. Yeah. Kids love it. I had a little 6-year-old that beat me, Rex Jackson, and she was running with her dad. She would have been about 6. Right, she ran that whole 5K without stopping with her dad, holding his hand. I could not get past him. And at the end of it, I high-fived her and I said, well done. I could not keep up with you.
And I guess Rex Jackson is definitely a challenging course, particularly on that back trail as you go down and back up, and you've got to do it twice.
Oh, man, that was brutal. It's like I could not keep up with this little girl with her dad.
Yeah, so a little 6-year-old be able to do that's quite mammoth, isn't it?
I can't even run a whole 5K yet. I still can't do it.
I have moments, but very rarely. I could count on, out of the last 100 parkruns that I've done, on one hand, the amount of times that I've been able to run or jog.
I'm still trying to get there, but I can run. I can actually do a whole 2.5K now. Yeah, I can do that, and I can do it in 15 minutes. So that's when I know that I'm setting at a certain pace. But I still can't run for 5K.
But you did tell me earlier on, you shared this with me, that parkrun is pretty much the only run you do other than
it is the only events. Yep, I do not run any other time. I can't run by myself, and I'm not motivated to run by myself. Yeah. So I need to run with people. So people laugh at me when I say to them, parkrun is my only training when I've done a half marathon. And they go, seriously? So 5Ks, but I feel it. If I don't do parkrun and I go to do a big run the next week, I will feel it in my legs. And I did recently at the Newcastle half. Yeah. I actually missed parkrun for 2 weeks because I was away working. And when I went and did that half, I knew in myself, I know I'm going to feel this. My left eye TV went on me, which is in my top leg, about 16 kilometres. I was walking the last 4 kilometres of that half. Yeah. My muscles in my feet, I could feel fatigue in my right calf muscle, and I did a 2:43 time. It was my worst half time. But I had to say to myself, you know what, I hadn't trained for it. Yeah. So it is what it is.
Yeah. Well done. Well done. So, anything else you want to share?
No, not really.
Not really? Quite tight, really. So there you go. It's been an absolute pleasure catching up with Jay. Thank you very much for sharing your parkrun story.
No problem.
And we will be doing a big day tomorrow.
Yeah, great. Let's hope the rain behaves itself.
Oh, look, it's one of those things that if it rains, it rains. What can you do about it? It makes you got plenty of change of, dry clothes and a couple of towels and that sort of thing. But it is an enjoyable day. So
I'll have to go to Woolies and go buy an umbrella because that was one bit of the car.
I've got an umbrella here, so you'll be right.
I didn't think to grab that.
Thanks,
I took it out of the car.
So there you go. That's a wrap on another edition with a guest. If you liked that episode and you're interested in looking at the back catalogue or being notified when more come out, please subscribe and like because that's your way of being able to get notifications. So until the next podcast, thanks for your time. The views, thoughts and opinions expressed on the 5K Yarns podcast with Billo belong solely to the host and my guests and do not reflect the views of any affiliated organisations mentioned, sponsors or partners. The content shared on this podcast is for entertainment and informational purposes only and should not be considered professional advice. Listeners' discretion is advised, especially as the topic may include some strong language and sensitive material.